Do you listen to Call Her Daddy?
I don't listen to it regularly, but I definitely watch the sound bites.
Me too. Me too. I'm in the same boat. But you're familiar with the podcast, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes I watch Alex, who's the host, and she has these index cards with all of her questions on
Yeah, she
them.
does, and she kind of they're a prop almost. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm thinking of implementing that.
Even if nothing's on it, just to
Oh
hold
my
it.
God, I hadn't even thought about that.
Sometimes I wonder if she's just holding it because it is videotaped a lot.
It is. And I do feel like her conversations are very natural with her
Yes,
guests.
totally.
And I can appreciate how, certainly with the caliber of some of her guests, I'd want to have like backup questions prepared.
Totally. And she interviews some controversial people too,
Yeah,
so imagine there's maybe a list of things she's not supposed to say
that's a great
or not
point. I'm
allowed.
I'm already imagining right now I could have my SOS card that's like if things are going, which has never happened, knock on wood. Don't make me be the first, Julie. Don't be the first one where I have to pull out an as yet uncreated
Emergency.
SOS card. But could it be like if things go really left, this is the okay, I'm gonna don't worry, I'll mention you when I bring
Good.
my stuff back. Okay, I cannot wait to talk to you about so many things. So, for anyone who's watching on the YouTube, right, we've got the cover here.
Yeah.
So in love with this cover. When you first saw that, was this the very first cover that
It was one of 3, and
okay.
I remember where I was when I got the email, and I teach middle school that's my day job, so I was in the teacher's break room having maybe my 3rd coffee of the day, and I didn't know that they'd made covers yet. I didn't know when that was gonna happen, so it was a total surprise email, and I remember opening it and seeing 3 and instantly seeing this one
Really?
and just getting a big butterfly heart skip a beat moment because I do love it so much, and I do think it
Mhm.
captures the energy of the book. And I thought, "Oh, well, that's my favorite." And then I read the email and my publishers were saying, "This is our favorite as well." So
Same
it
one.
felt
Okay.
very perfect that we just agreed. And I'm not even a visual person usually. But
Oh.
instinctually, I just thought that's the cover.
I'm a very visual person. I
Okay.
will buy a book. It could be about snakes and spiders if the cover is fantastic. It will grab or a title. If it grabs me. When I pulled this out of the package from Diana, I was like, "Okay." And you know what I thought, Julie, was I wanna go somewhere first of all, it definitely gives thriller vibe to
Yes.
me.
Good.
I wanna go somewhere cold and snowy and safe. Like, I don't wanna be out in the middle of nowhere because I think this takes some twists and turns, and I don't wanna get, too nervous, but it's just it's so great, and then I flip it over and I see, a former Starbucks barista, and you grew up in the Hudson Valley, so I thought, "Alright, before we even dive into this book, I have to say 3 things. 3 of my kids either currently work at or have worked at Starbucks. I've got 2 there, and I've always said that's my backup. So
It still is my backup.
is it really?
I mean, I always tell myself, if things ever go south at any point,
Yeah.
Starbucks is always hiring and it is tough. It's tough working customer service. It's a lot of drinks, but I know I can do it because I did it for so long. I have their drinks memorized. I don't think I'll ever forget the
Oh, we could do a whole episode on this. We really we won't, but we could. We could, like, save it because when my kids started working there, they were equally overwhelmed, and I've often said, "Okay, if all else fails, that's what I'm gonna do," and sometimes I'll be working in a Starbucks, not for them, but I will be writing or working in their lobby, if you will, and, so somebody will text me and say, "Where are you?" I say, "I'm working at Starbucks," and they'll go, "Oh, it finally happened?"
you finally had
And
to
I'm like, "No, no, 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 no,
I'm
no."
independently working.
No, never say never, but today I'm just editing in Starbucks. I'm not making the lattes. But it felt so overwhelming to my kids, and now, as you know, you get the craziest orders. And
So
they can just rip them
just
out, you know? They yeah.
at a certain point, I liked being on bar. I liked the busy work. It's much better when it's busy, even though it's overwhelming. I could hear people ordering at the register and make the drink based on what I could
Oh,
hear.
that's
So
okay.
that's my kind of my Starbucks brag. I used to go right in the lobby before I worked there. I can't do that anymore because I get distracted. I notice, oh,
Yeah.
someone needs to change the trash. That counter needs to be wiped because I was for so long in that mindset. They didn't
Okay.
make that drink right. I can tell they didn't shake it enough times.
Yeah.
So
Okay, we
it's,
are very similar because I'm doing that and I've never even worked there.
yeah. Well, sometimes they have a lot of new baristas, and I know this because I was training them, and it's impossible to, in the span of 5 days of training, know all those
Oh, for
drinks.
sure.
So
Oh,
that's
you
why.
got hot bar, then you got cold bar, then you got drive-through, and one of my I don't remember which kid it was, but in their first week, they were so understaffed and so over something that they were thrown into they were taking orders, handing them out the drive-through, and dealing with something else at the same time, and
It's
it was like, I think they slept for, like, 2 days after that shift. It was crazy.
yes, it's stimulating. It's
Yeah.
overstimulating.
It's a lot. So, quick note on the Hudson Valley, because I just found this really interesting. There's another author connected with last week who I found out about for the first time, and I was so pleased. And I'm going to forget her name right now because it's so fresh. She wrote an article for Travel and Leisure magazine about how she moved, I believe, from New York City, she and her husband, up to, is it like Litchfield County? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Litchfield
And
County.
the way she described it, Julie, I mean, what are you there now?
No, I live in Brooklyn now,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
I
That's
grew
right.
up
Okay.
in the Hudson Valley, and most of my family is there.
Is
Yes.
it as idyllic as it looks?
It's beautiful. It's
Okay.
stunning, and it's not just the landscape, the fields and the forests are very beautiful, but the old houses and the old farmlands are just, it's like stepping into a storybook in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
I think I have to go.
You should.
I
It's a
think I
great
think this is a
weekend.
sign because of all the places to be mentioned to me twice in 1 week,
Yes.
or not to be mentioned to me, but to have put in my face twice. I think it must mean something. So
Oh,
tell me about the writing of this because this is your debut.
it is.
Yes?
Yes.
So just bring us in. Like, how did you get the idea for it? What's your process like? All the things that people, what surprised you? Wherever you want to start.
So I started writing it years ago. It's
You
been a
did.
long process. I got the idea. I wanted to write murder mystery thriller. I love that genre. I love reading it, and I felt comfortable writing in that style. I read a lot of genres, but that was something, even the pattern of sort of the building suspense, the twist, the reveal, I love. So I tried a few different types of premises. I was actually in the Hudson Valley with my family. We were taking a walk, which is kind of a big Hudson Valley activity, is just taking for your weekend trip. That's pretty much on the itinerary. Take a long walk.
Uh-huh.
And we were in a field, and there was a hunter's tent because there are lots of hunters in the area, and they have tents and kind of deer blinds. And I just thought, what if there was a body in the tent? And that is the opening chapter. That's where it
Mhm.
started. It's still the opening chapter. Everything else got changed a lot, but that is still kind of the starting event. A family takes a walk
Okay.
and finds a body. And the process from there, I wrote a lot of drafts,
You
basically. I
did.
wrote the first one,
All
and
the way through, or because I'm curious if we just stick with, so I've got this premise that this family is on a walk and they find a body. Where did you go from there?
so my process for this was, I usually do this, I write a full draft because I don't know where it goes from there when I start. But as I write and build the characters, one character often leads to another, one relationship leads to another. And then I kind of found out as I was writing it what happened. I had written some past either incomplete drafts or they just weren't quite fully realized. I borrowed from past
Yeah.
things I'd written. I'd borrowed characters, ideas, and kind of just fed it in to what I was working on. And then I reached the end and I remember saying, okay, now I know how it ends. So
Mhm.
now I know what happens. And then I went back and reworked a lot of stuff and changed a lot of stuff. But writing the first draft was really exciting because every time I wrote, I was learning what would happen and the characters would surprise me sometimes.
Well, I'm selfishly happy to hear you say that completely unprompted, that you got to the end and then you kinda had to figure out how to get to the end, because I just was talking yesterday about the fact that sometimes, and when I'm working with authors, it's primarily on nonfiction or memoir when I'm working
Okay.
one-on-one with them, but with nonfiction, sometimes it can really help to know where they're starting, and other times it can really help to know how they're gonna end. In other words, the final
Okay.
chapter, and I liken it to fiction because for some fiction authors, if they know where it's going to end, or if they know what that pinnacle point is, then they just have to work their way into it and out of it, or all the way to it if it's the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
How many, and I don't wanna focus on it like it's like there's a rule, because but do you remember approximately how many words your first draft was?
Long. It was too long. I'm long-winded. Uh, it was over 100,000.
Was it?
Yes, I don't know the exact, but I do remember the first thing my agent said to me was, "You need to cut. You need to get it down." Um, but I would always rather have more material to cut
Yeah.
than to come up with material. I felt like I had a lot, and so cutting was necessary.
How was cutting easy?
For some parts of the revision process, it was easy. For at other times, it was quite difficult.
Okay.
Certain revision, I was cutting stuff, but also
Mm,
adding stuff. And
yeah.
that got a little tricky because I had to remember, do they know this? Or does this character
Right.
know this? Or was this cut? Do I have to add this in here? And I'm not naturally the most organized. I don't keep a lot of notes as I'm writing a first draft. So I had to put on that skill set of, okay, I
Yeah.
need to have a very clear timeline. I need every single date worked out. I need to know birth dates, birth years, all of that. And I spent a lot of time doing that because it was just impossible to be cutting and adding without having that information worked out.
The dates thing has me so tripped up, because at one point I realized in the book I'm working on that I had someone who was married when she was like 7 and she had a baby when she was like 92. I mean, like the dates were not,
Yeah.
the math wasn't mathing. And I thought, I never realized I was going to have to become proficient at math in order to write fiction. This is,
Yes,
yeah.
same. I'm
Mhm.
not I was counting on my fingers. I had
Right.
a calculator for years, especially
Yeah.
in this book, there's 2 sort of main families.
Mhm.
And I I wanted to explore family relationships and sibling relationships, but also intergenerational dynamics. During the first draft, I didn't think anything of dates. I was just writing, and it was during the revision I had to think, "Oh, actually, if this character is this old in this
Mhm.
scene, I need to actually figure out when they were born." And so I had a family tree, I had everything worked out. But I did keep thinking I was making math mistakes. There was
Yeah.
one character, and I he was supposed to be mid-50s, but somewhere he had become a 45-year-old or early
Well,
60s.
listen, it could have been worse.
Exactly. Yes. And I was thinking, I just skipped a decade in my
Right.
counting at some point, and I was so
Right.
careful, but I need to fix this.
Like, do you watch Bridgerton, or have you ever watched okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm sensing that you're a fan. Okay. So I am not innately a fan of period stuff, right? I never really got in, and maybe I still will, so never say never, but Downton Abbey, like I just didn't, the Queen, like all these different things, I didn't quite get into it.
Yes.
And my oldest daughter, and then believe it or not, one of my sons, who's 23, was like, they both said, "This is so good." And I thought, if my son, who's just he's a very masculine presence, is suggesting this, I'm obsessed. It kind of, when you said like the generations, like I have to put together, wait, who's from what
Yes.
family? It gives me so much of a better regard for how Russian literature, Anna Karenina, which is one of my favorite novels of all time, War and Peace. Thank God they have the family at the beginning, because I would just, what? Like I'm trying, separate side note question. Is it accurate that in Bridgerton, the one family, the first child's name starts with A and then it goes down? Did you pick up on that?
Oh, yes. So I actually read the books for the
Oh,
Netflix show. I'm a bit of a romance novel lover.
okay.
I I love a good quick romance read. And yes, that's in the books and they discuss it in the books. It's just kind of a
Well, who
cute
is
thing.
C?
Claudia? Wait, who is C?
Yeah, because there's Anthony.
Colin. It's the third.
Colin!
I forgot for a second.
Thank you. So that family, at what letter does it end? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I think it's the youngest son is G. Jeffrey?
Oh, I don't think I know Jeffrey yet.
I think he's a kid on the show. I don't know if the show's gonna do all the books, so I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that's an aside, but thank you so much for Colin, because I didn't even pick up on this until, and I won't say it as a spoiler, but somebody has a baby and the husband says, "Well, obviously his name will start with an A in keeping with tradition." And I was like, "What tradition?"
I don't think
Like
they mention it in the show. I don't remember that.
it never even occurred to me until that moment, and then I started going back and going, "Oh, there's anyway."
There's
Okay.
ABC.
So, yeah, who is C? Now we know. Prepare for me to message you later and say who's F. Like I'm so,
I'm ready.
anyway, we'll deal with that later. So in the Gallagher Place, I'm sort of gleaning this isn't the first book you've written.
No, it's the first I published. It was not the first draft I finished. It was the first draft that felt like it was something. If that
Okay. So
um
did it start early? Because did you have an agent before?
no.
Okay.
No, I had it. I was writing. I wanted to be a writer. I was,
Hmm.
working various jobs and trying to finish something. I finished a few things, but and I think every writer can relate to this. You finish it and it feels not what you visualized or it's
Uh-huh.
not at the vision. The Gallagher Place was similar. It wasn't exactly meeting the vision, but it felt close. It felt like the thing I'd created that was the closest to what I'd set out to create. So I revised and invested a lot of energy in it. And then I sought an agent with the manuscript.
Got it. Okay. So a lot of people who are considering trying to get agented and go traditional really are challenged by the query letter.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so how, and so it just makes me, I don't know that I've ever asked this before, but how did you go about summarizing a plot that wasn't completely nailed down? I mean, it was, but as you said, it still felt like it's not quite there yet. So how did you do that and have the confidence to send it out that it could intrigue the right agent?
Part of it, looking back, it might have been false confidence, to be
Mm,
honest. I think I actually sent it out too early. I thought, okay, it's ready enough.
yeah.
Sent it out for a few rounds, nothing was happening, and I had to go
Okay.
back and kind of say, okay, it wasn't ready. I need to adjust and send out more rounds. I definitely, in the letter itself, there's a duo mystery of the novel. So there's the one body they find, and then there's a past mystery from 20 years before in which this friend disappears. So I leaned heavily on that, this sort of digging
Okay.
into old family secrets. The details did change, but that
Mhm.
idea remained constant of a family with secrets, basically.
Yeah.
I will say when it came to querying before Starbucks, I worked in sales. I was cold calling people, and it was, the headset on a book, a territory of businesses, literally calling up business owners and trying to sell them advertising in 20 minutes over the phone.
Oh my god.
And it was not a fun job. It
I
was
was gonna say, did you enjoy that? Because
no, it didn't come naturally to me.
yeah.
I didn't consider myself an extrovert. I didn't consider myself a salesperson, but I was an English major. I graduated. That was a job I could get. But I did learn in sales, it's really a numbers game. You have to cast the net and you have to make, you know, 10 dials to reach a decision maker. And then you might make 50 dials a day means you're going to reach 5 decision makers. Out of those 5 decision makers, you have to convert 1 to 2 to a sale. So I approached the query letter with that philosophy. I'm going to get a
Okay.
lot of rejection. People are going to hang up the phone. But if
Yep.
I send out a certain number and I get one agent to read, now I have to say, okay, is that converting into an offer? And it took a lot of the emotion out. I think writers obviously were emotionally invested. Rejection can be difficult, but thinking of it in the way I would have thought about the sales job
Yeah.
helped me
Well, I
make it.
remember when I was talking to Emma Gray and she was saying the rule of 100 for her. So
Yes,
she almost just went in with the mindset of, I'm going to get 100 rejections before I get someone who's interested. And it didn't take that long. She didn't have to get to 100. But
exactly.
because that was her mindset, I think that's such a healthier way to do it than to
Yes,
think, I've submitted to 3 people and they all said no, so I quit.
exactly. Yeah, it's the first 3 people or odds are going to
Right.
say no. And then I think that mentality is so healthy because it's almost a mental trick and you start celebrating the rejections. You think, "Oh, another rejection, check,
Yes. Because you can
I'm
tick it.
on my way."
Yes.
I
Yes.
love a checklist, so
Yes.
that helps. I'm a definite fan of that
So
philosophy.
how long was it then from when how long did it take before you got an agent who was interested? And the reason I ask this is because I enjoy letting people hear a lot of different experiences with this. And I think
Yeah.
people are surprised to sometimes hear it can take a little bit longer than they might think.
I think it took around a year, possibly
Okay.
longer, because I staggered it because I didn't wanna send out a query letter if I sent it to 10 and nothing happened, I
Yeah.
thought, "Okay, I need to adjust the query letter. I need
Right.
to adjust something." So, that meant it took longer and it takes a long time to hear. There's a lot of sometimes there'll be a request for the first 50 pages, the request for the full thing. So, it did take time. It
Yeah.
was it was a journey.
Well, and I'm anticipating a question from listeners, which is how did you know what to adjust?
I think I did a lot of research. I read a lot of articles, listened to what other authors had to say about their experience. A common thing I heard, and I think this was the number one thing I was adjusting, was the first chapter. The first chapter, if either you're sending it in the query letter or an agent requests that,
Yeah.
it has to be really strong.
Yeah.
And I always felt a little uncertain about my opening, not even just my chapter, my opening 50 pages. I felt
Mhm.
I was constantly changing that. So that was most often what I was adjusting.
So then from getting the agent to getting the offer, how long of a period was that for you?
I think that was about a year,
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
around there, something like that. But I mean, the great thing about having an agent is all of a sudden you're not alone. You're not
Right.
just doing this on your
Yeah.
computer after work. So it felt really assuring to have that. Someone
Yeah.
believed in it in some capacity.
And are you someone who, once this book was edited and off and in the queue of publishing, we'll say, do you start working on something else?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
I I have to have something new because I don't like waiting. I didn't wanna sit and just wait, and I always thought, "You know what? Rejection is part of this process, so I have to even just mentally tell myself, maybe it won't happen with this. I can't."
Oh, so while even while it was on submission, you
Yes,
were working.
just to help
Okay.
myself think, "You know what? If it's not this,
Yeah.
I need to have something else." If it takes another 2, 3 tries with the novel,
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep writing something. Yes.
I think that's a common refrain I hear from authors who they want to write for the long term. They
Yes,
know it's a long, long game.
it is, and everyone tells you that. Seasoned
Yeah.
writers always say that, so I kind of the longer I write, the more I start to feel it's the successful long-term writers are the writers who just don't stop, who
Right.
just keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's not some secret. You just keep going.
You just
So,
keep going. So is the next one that you're working on now, is it also a thriller?
yes, it's also got a mystery. It's a little more of a I think of it as a gossip mystery, weirdly, because it's a wedding weekend premise.
Mm.
I love the idea of constraining it to 2 days,
Okay.
uh, or 2 to 3 days, so it focuses on kind of friend group dynamics,
Mhm.
relationships, whispers, gossip, uh, and there is a central mystery, yes.
That one of my favorite books, I think I'm in my thriller era. I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but I think it's happening. And it
I
might
love
have
it.
started with The Dinner List. Is that Lucy Score?
Lucy Fo
Lucy
Oh,
Foley. Lucy
yes, I've
Foley. We
read
don't
it
wanna
on yeah, I've read one of her novels. She's great.
Yeah. And it was confined to 3 days, and it was so 2 to 3 days, and it were maybe 4, but it was so much, and it just I couldn't stop turning pages.
Yes, that's the best feeling for me.
And then you don't have to deal with people's age changing.
Exactly.
Yes.
After dealing with the timelines, I thought, "I need 3 days. I can do keep track of 3 days."
Okay. Now, personal curiosity, when you got the idea or when you get the idea for another book, but you're still working actively on the book that you're working on, what do you do?
I struggle to do 2 things at once, but I always want to.
Yeah.
I always if I'm stuck with one project, all of a sudden I have another idea that is so exciting and so thrilling. So I will allow myself to write a little bit for
Okay.
whatever the exciting, enticing idea is. But I do try to limit myself because I just know I have a one track mind
Yeah.
and I just have to focus on one thing at a time.
That's something I've learned about myself in the last several years is I will have and it's not just writing, it's projects around my house. I mean, I my kids are like, "Mom, you've been working on the steps for 9 years. Can we?" And it's not that I've been working on the steps for 9 years. It's that I started working on the steps, but then I thought, I think the pantry needs a makeover. And then I thought, I think I need to clear out the shower. And then I thought, so I'm going to come back around, but I have to have some boundaries around a project, and I've started to tell myself, "We're gonna finish
This
this thing before we're gonna write the end, even if there's still some massaging to do. We're gonna finish it, and then we'll move on to that
yes.
next."
I'm the same way. Right, in the house too. I have a leaking faucet, and I just can't I can't even put it on the list yet because I have to deal with 2 other things. I am
I know.
aware it's happening, but I just can't deal with it right now.
I know. I know. It's like the shorter my list, the saner I am, which makes all the sense in the world, but it's not normal for me. I'm so used to having a list that's like a notebook long. It's pages and pages and pages. But that is I can't.
It's too much.
It's too much. Nothing ever gets done. It's no, I need to just check back to your loving to just put the
Check.
check mark. I need the check mark. So, last question I always ask is what are you reading now or what have you read recently that you just loved or felt like, gosh, I wish I could read that again, having never read it the first time?
I just read Wide Sargasso Sea by
Oh,
Jean Rhys. It's a reimagining of Jane Eyre, and I love Jane Eyre. I
okay.
love Bronte sisters. It's about the wife in the attic who you never really see in Jane Eyre. She kind of is haunting on the outskirts, this very mysterious figure. So it's a retelling from her point of view,
Okay.
which I love. I love a different point of view. And
Yeah.
it's very good, it's very beautiful, and it is not a thriller, it's not a mystery, but it has sort of frightening elements and
Mhm.
haunting aspects. There's some ghost stories in it.
Ghost
So,
stories. Okay. That's interesting.
I loved it. I loved it a lot. I also just read I like to you mentioned memoirs earlier. I really enjoy a good point of view memoir. I
Uh-huh.
just read the I'm Glad My Mom Died
You
by
did?
Jeanette McCurdy because I heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
People were talking about it. It's good.
I
It's got
haven't
a
read it.
it's got it leans a lot into its celebrity gossip, which
Mm.
is interesting, but it's not over reliant on that. It's
Okay.
mostly about her relationship with her mother, which is fascinating, and she writes about it with a very distinct voice.
Heard so much about it, and I think, for me, the title was so hard for me, and
Yep,
I think that's,
jarring.
frankly, yeah, I think it was jarring for a lot of people, and I don't know, that's not good or bad or not none of those things. It helped, whether they intended it to or not, it helped the book get a lot of
Well,
word of
yes.
mouth because people couldn't help but say,
What's
"Oh my
going on?
god," right, like,
Right.
what the heck?" But I've also heard that some people really, really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And
I
so I've
didn't
been wanting to take a look.
yeah, I didn't read it initially when it came out, but this always gets me is when I hear there's going to be a television show or a movie adaptation.
Yeah.
E and I don't know if this is real, but I saw that it was being adapted to a TV show,
Really?
and even when I'm probably not going to watch a movie, all of a sudden I think I have to read the book very quickly.
Oh,
Because
really?
just in case
Okay.
I decide to watch the show, I want to have the book already read.
Do
So
you
that
compare? Like, do you watch then the movie or the show and think this wasn't in the book? Or
yes,
yeah,
I love doing that.
okay. So I'm seeing the Starbucks to come full circle. I'm seeing the working in the Starbucks, not at the Starbucks, but observing what they're not doing
Oh,
and
yeah.
also reading a book and then watching the show and observing what they left out.
Yeah. I need to have the insider information.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for creating time so quickly. I wish you
Right.
all the luck in the world with this. I'm going to
Yep.
take it up
Thank
somewhere
you.
north where it is not 100 degrees the minute the
Yes.
snow starts falling up there. And that's what I'm going to do for the weekend.
Light a nice fire. It's a good
There
fireplace.
is a fire on the cover. I mean, it's not a fire. It's like illumination, but a glow, but it gives the sense of a fire, meaning from a fireplace.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
got some hearth, some fireside setting. So,
Elements. Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it, and
I have no doubt that I will. I can't wait. Thank you.
thank you for having me. This has been so nice.